Alright folks, here we go. This is my 500th video on this channel. 500 times I've presented you videos of me speaking to the spirits. I have my Sony camera pointed at the wife's computer as usual, Panasonic's in my hand. Now I got something set up a little bit different today and I'll tell you why. I have no septic tank in my house. I think it's full. Can't flush the toilets. If I run the laundry or the dishwasher, it backs up into the tub. So this is a nightmare scenario when you live in Canada and it's minus 25 degrees Celsius out, which it has been 2 weeks ago. This week, if I show you outside here right now, if I show you out there, all the water's dripping off the roof, everything's melting, so that's great. Because I've contacted 7 companies to come and pump that septic tank. Not one has got back to me, and I've left multiple messages on these answering machines for these companies, so I don't even know what's going on. So if you look at my sink here, I've got 2 buckets. That's for doing dishes at night. So I mean, this has been a nightmare for 3 weeks. But yeah, I'm doing my dishes in here, washing and drying at night, and then I take the water and I chuck it out the door, right? So as far as speaking to the spirits today, we have a little bit of a different scenario. If you watched my last video, this is a rock tumbler that I bought. This has been running out in the porch for 2 days straight now, but I moved it in here because I'm going to turn that on, let it run. But I haven't used the kettle fountain that I invented for quite some time. I'm going to run the two in conjunction with my microphone right in the middle. Let's do this. Hey, I'll leave the window open, why not? A few additional drips won't make a difference. Or maybe they will. I haven't turned this pump on for 2 or 3 months now, so hopefully it'll come on and work no problem. Okay, the water's up over top of the pump. Let's turn this on. So there you go. They used the terminology test on 2 separate cameras, okay, that I'm recording with, which means that the footage gets filtered separately through its own codecs, artificial intelligence. So if this was all bunk and random, how do you get the one camera, the guy saying, I put together a test, that was on the Sony camera, and then as I keep recording, a few seconds later, the topic stays the same, and the guy says, I said it, test, on the Panasonic camera. 2 different cameras talking about a test. I mean, it has to be more than coincidence. Also, if you go back to when I first plugged the machine in, I said, I hope this thing works, because I hadn't used it in a few months. The very first thing the guy says immediately is, I'm going to need a pressure inspector. And that's what I was worried about, right? The pressure coming out of that pump. So, I mean, are they inspecting my equipment? It made total sense. It's not a great flow. That's better. Got my list of questions. Now, something interesting again. Like I said, this is my 500th session, so it's kind of special. I asked ChatGPT again, bam, who's my best guy to go to through history? And this is a special episode, my 500, who do you pick? And it gave me like 4 or 5 options, and one of them happened to be the exact same person that somebody asked me 2 days ago to do. Somebody, and I forget the name, I apologize for that, typed me a comment and said, hey, can you do Julius Caesar next? And that's the same one that came up in ChatGPT's list, so that's who we're going to do. Good morning, spirits. I hope you can dial it in and use my kettle fountain and the rock tumbler in conjunction somehow to leave your voices for us to hear. Can you please say the name of the person I want to speak to? I can't hear any voice, so hopefully this is going to work. It's just too loud right beside me. Normally I can hear the echo over my shoulder. Are we connected, spirits? Oh, I thought I heard a yes. So you may or may not have noticed that the last few responses have all come from the Panasonic camera, which was sitting at the sink with me. And that is because with the sound of the rock tumbler, it's adding almost like a layer of static on the responses on the Sony camera. It was being pumped out from the microphone over to the wife's computer, being amplified and then recorded. Well, it's not as clear. Also, when I turned on the kettle fountain in the very beginning, before I added the rock tumbler, I thought that those were very clear responses, and I may have to go back and experiment some more with that because I'm not sure I've done a session with just the kettle fountain and the new AI software, the Crystal Sound that I'm using, because that was very clear. So overall, this experiment's working. I can hear the words, but it's not as clear as if I had just used water by itself. Let's get into these questions. Julius, what was the most beautiful thing you witnessed in your life? Julius, war or peace? Have you been watching over Rome all of these centuries since your death? How beautiful was Rome? Have you met any other powerful once leaders in the afterlife? And if yes, who? Okay, so I want to show you this as an example of the Sony camera, like I said, because the rock tumbler sounds fuzzy. This is the Sony camera. We're going to listen to my question. And if yes, who? Okay, so if yes, who? Okay. Met them, yes. Like who? And then they say something else here, which I think might be, I don't know if it's a name or he's telling us who he's met, but it's just so fuzzy. So the whole recording on the Sony is like that, so that's why I'm not really showing any responses from it. It's just too fuzzy to make out and be concrete, but I really think they were answering my question, of course, as they usually do. Which is better, Senate or Emperor? And by better, I mean for the people. Have you come back and lived a different life after your life as Caesar? Is life on Earth precious? What would you say to the people who betrayed you? What did it feel like when Brutus slipped that knife between your ribs? Do you forgive Brutus? Do you have a message for us here in the year 2025? All right, thank you for coming through and answering my questions. I'm going to gather up some light and send it out to you. All right, love, peace, joy, and adventure to you viewers. Hopefully we got some sounds, some voices that we can decipher using these two items. We'll catch you guys in the next video. If you are intrigued by the research I'm doing here and you think that I might actually be onto something, feel free to like, subscribe, and share with your friends who may also enjoy the material. You can check out our Reddit community over on the Reddit page, r/optimalfrequency. If you want to donate like these folks have on the screen, you can use the donate button on the top of the YouTube banner. Every dollar is appreciated. Love, peace, joy, and adventure to all of you. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you in the next video.